Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Rachel and Coyote Show. Rachel here is not only a life coach, but she is a therapist extraordinaire, and she's going to kind of give us some tips today. And we're talking about online dating and mostly from the men's perspective. And well, first off, before we get started, how are you today, Rachel?
Oh, good. You know, I love this topic. I think it's going to be so fun and, hopefully some good tips for the men.
Hopefully, um, I've got some crazy stories to tell
Ooh.
because my wife, my first wife, she left me. Oh, it was what 96, I believe, 96 or 97, and no, I take that back. I'm sorry, 2007, because we had been married for about 17 years,
Mm.
and anyway, I decided it was time to get out and date, and being that I haven't really been in the dating scene for almost 20 years, I didn't know what to do. I heard about online dating, decided, hey, what the heck, I'm going to try it. And, I'm still in my 30s and, you know, kind of young and ready to get out there. And I wasn't prepared for what I discovered when I
Ooh.
started it because I know men can be dogs. They just some guys just want to go out and they want to have sex and that's it. And I was actually looking for a relationship. I didn't realize how many women out there were just looking for sex too.
Mm.
And I mean, right off the bat, I was getting personal photos, if you know what I mean. And I was kind of shocked, you know.
So women were sending you nude photos before they met you.
Yes, which was, like I say, was a shock for me. I mean, the last time I'd asked anybody out on a date, it was the 80s. So, and so I never really found anything serious, kind of gave it up, um, got back into doing it again. Things hadn't really changed that much. And then things did change when I got those that were just kind of looking for somebody to give them money. And I'll give you a great example. I went out on a date, and this lady was supposed to be a teacher. So I was like, oh, good. This is somebody kind of professional. This is, might end up being something serious. So we got out on the date, and things were going wonderful. And at the end, we stepped outside, and I got a little peck on the cheek, that kind of thing. And I wasn't looking just to have sex with somebody, so we weren't going home together. But I walked her to her car like a gentleman should.
Yes.
And she turned to me and she says, I have $100 worth of food stamps here. And if you could just give me 50 bucks for them, you can buy them off of me. And I'm like, I don't do things like that. That's not right. And then she looked at me. She goes, well, I don't know if I really want to go out with you anymore. You don't really look like your picture. And this, that, and the other. She told me that I looked heavier, and which was kind of strange since I had just lost a whole bunch of weight from the time I took that photo. And I thought, are there really people out there like that? I mean, have you ever run across people like that?
Who want money or who lie about their picture?
No, but that just want money. I mean, like I said, this lady was trying to sell me her food stamps.
Yeah. So, I have a stories podcast episode. It's episode 18 on predatory women. And, generally predatory women, these are very, very bad individuals. So they do very serious things. I'm talking about ruin your life. You can end up in jail type of bad, really bad. So, that individual, that it's going close to the line where she's doing things because you're not supposed to do that with federal benefits. So, there are rules,
Hmm.
and so when you start going across those lines, this is someone who's making poor judgment calls. So it says something to her character. And, certainly it's a spectrum. I wouldn't say that she's in that evil predatory, but you don't know, because could she? Because she has some interesting judgment. But absolutely, men need to be aware that there are predatory women and that not all women are good, and you need to be careful.
Well, that's for sure. And I even ran across those that we barely started dating, and they were already wanting to get married. I'm like, can you give me a little bit of time?
How
That's a
many
big.
days into this did they have this conversation?
I'm talking like 3 or 4 dates.
What would they say?
It's just that topic of getting married kept coming up, and then if I said, I'm not ready for that just as yet. I mean, I'd like to date for a while. Then all of a sudden they don't have nothing to do with me, and they start talking bad about me, and I'm like, this is absolutely crazy. So I just kind of decided to get away from it. I said, I can't deal with this. But
Yeah,
then, I get lonely. You go out, and I've met a few women. They would be, I mean, they would be nice people, but I just wasn't finding the right one. And
yeah,
just I decided, okay, I'm going to give this one more try, just one more try. And if it doesn't work this time, I'm totally done. And then I met Michelle, my wife, and we actually talked for, God, going on 3 months before we actually went out on a date.
yeah.
And, we weren't exchanging pornographic type photos or anything. And we got to know each other, and found we had a lot in common. And I'm not saying that all online dating is bad, just to be careful, because I was fortunate. I did happen to find the one, but there are those out there that, oh my God, you don't know what you're getting into.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the wild, wild west. So I don't think there's a person on the planet, if they try to online dating, that they don't have some kind of horror stories. So, in a way, it's to be expected. I would say that a lot of people think that, well, if I want to find love or I want to make my relationship work, that things will just magically happen. And I think that's a bunch of bullshit. If you want the relationship that you have, you need to work on it. If you want to keep, you want to save, you have to work on that. If you have to go to couples counseling, whatever you do, you have to work hard. And then when it comes to dating, that's even easier. It's easier to date than it is to maintain a relationship. The relationship's the, hard work. But dating, to just say, I'm just going to find love, it's going to magically happen, maybe, but I think that people would be better served, men and women, if they label what they want. Like you did. You're like, I want a relationship. And so you filter quickly. There is nothing wrong with that. And then saying, well, I got to put some work in. Like, I got to kiss a lot of frogs, women find a prince or whatever. So you have to label it. You say, I would like a relationship. I would like to find love. Know what you want. And then know that it's going to be a work. And not always fun. You're like, oh, dating, like, when you're single, your married friends or your friends in relationships, they're looking at you like, look at you in the single life, you got it so great. And then the single people are looking at the married people like, oh man, I wish I had someone. So yes, it's work.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm telling you, go out there and date. But if you're looking for a serious relationship, take your time. Don't go for the first person that you meet. That's another mistake that I think a lot of people make. I mean, and maybe that first one that you meet is the one. I can't tell you. That's my advice, is to get out there and meet people and make that known when you're going online dating, that, hey, I'm looking. I want to go out on a few dates, and let's just see how this progresses. But how many people lie when they're doing their profiles? That's another thing.
Yes, yes. I would say, this is my money tip, is that I think that if you just came out of a relationship, you have to heal yourself. You have a lot going on. And I honestly think it would be worth it to go to therapy, even if you're trying to find love or you got out of a relationship. It's not just couples counseling. Honestly, you would be well served because you're not going to be the type of person that a quality person wants to be with unless you kind of fix your stuff, right? So that's my money tip. When it comes to the online, the problem with the online is what makes it so wild, wild west is that there's a lot of deceit, and the volume is so immense. And so you can go on Bumble, and you can go on Grinder, and you can go on Hinge, and you can go on Match, and you can go on, you like a million Coffee Meets Bagel. There's so many. And so, and then when you go on there, you don't just got your small town, your city. You got the entire US, you got the entire world. And so it's this false sense of complacency that next, you can just swipe, swipe, swipe. And so too many choices overwhelms your brain. And then also, of the choices that you're presented with, it's not real. If you're a small town guy who's a farmer, and you find 100 pictures that you think these women are hot, but they are in all kinds of cities all around the world. Maybe your budget as a farmer, or maybe the work that you do, you are not prepared to take flights to all these cities.
True.
And meet women. Some people, geography is not a big deal to them. They don't mind. But so it's the multitude of choice, but then the choices that you have, you have to filter it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, I don't know. To me, I always look for somebody that was at least within 20 miles.
You're a
Um,
realist. Like, you were serious. You're like, I would like a relationship.
right. I mean, because, there would be women that would message me and they're a couple of states away. And I'm going, how do you think this is going to work? If I'm here, you're there. I've got an established job. I've got a place that I'm living. I don't want to up and move. It's, I don't know. It just seems unrealistic unless, you want one of those ones you can find from Russia that you could just, you know, marry them as soon as they get off the plane. I mean, I don't know what you're looking for.
Yes. So that goes back to the labeling. You have to know what you want, because when you're filtering, there's a lot of people on the apps that they just window shopping. They're not even interested. They just want to flirt. They just want to see if they still got it. They're curious. They have no intention of putting any time or effort into it. And so, I would say, for my girlfriends, the advice that I would give to them, and this is very much based off my personality, I'm very direct, so this may not fly with everybody, but I would tell any girlfriend of mine, look, to filter out who's a time waster and who's actually there for a reason, like a date. That's step number one before you even get to the relationship. I would say, if that man, the first time you message, if you message and then you move it off to your cell phone, off the platform, or you're still messaging on the platform, I would say, if that man does not ask you on a date within 24 to 48 hours, he's in the time waster category. Now, this isn't to say that this man, maybe later you guys message and you go on a date or whatever, but I would just say to the women, look at the people that you did date from online. Look at the ones that took their time. Those dates, did they ever go anywhere? And 9 times out of 10, it didn't. And again, all kinds of scenarios. But the reason why I say that is because men, they know, like, oh, you live in my town, like, oh, I like your picture. They know. Okay, I would like to message you. Okay, I'd like to ask you on a date. The people who are on there just for fun, like just getting their kicks or whatever, or seeing what nude photos they can get for free, those men, they don't ask for a date. So it's kind of like a litmus test.
Yeah, to me, I just don't think you should just come on there and play games. I mean, be upfront about what you want. If you're just looking to hook up, casual dating kind of thing, make sure you let people know that. I think there's actually categories that you can put yourself in for that kind of thing. But when you go out and you play these games, you make it hard on the people that are trying to be serious, because then people are always skeptical of them as well.
Yeah. Well, in a perfect world that, because you're a serious person and a gentleman, you wanted to do things the right way. I have no idea what the percentages is. But
Right.
if I had to guess, I would say it's 50, 60, 70% time wasters, not serious. Like, because you got the world, you got like, all kinds of catfish. Who knows what's going on? So, and also, I just don't think there's no man on the planet who would ever say, yeah, I want to spend as little money as possible, get as many free nudes and free phone sex as possible, and get laid as much as possible. And I want no relationship and it's going nowhere. No man is going to say this if he's trying to sleep with hot women as hot as he can get. So there is a lot of deception on the apps, and people have to filter, and that goes into that piece where you got to work hard. You better go in, if you're going to date, you better go in knowing that you are going to get the runaround, and it's almost like a job. There's some things about a job you don't like. Same with dating, you got to do some stuff that's unpleasant. And one of the biggest things is that everybody lies about their stats. So you can lie about a lot of things too, but I think for men, the biggest thing that men lie about is probably their height and their age.
And why would you lie about those kind of things? I mean, people are going to find out when they meet you.
Right. Well, Kyle, you have a brain and you think logically, okay? There's this hilarious story. Lolo Jones is an Olympian. And she puts a lot of her dating stories on her Twitter and her Instagram. And she had the most hilarious tweet. It was so funny. She had actually said that she went on this date and she's tall. Like, let's say she's 5'8", okay? And so she had heels on. And so she knows how, her 2-inch heels or whatever. So the man says he's 6 foot. But when he shows up on the date, she's looking down at him and she's not even wearing her heels. So, if a woman knows how tall she is, knows how tall her heels are, like for myself, I'm super short. So it's a little bit harder for me to tell if someone's lying. But a woman who's 5'8" with 2-inch heels will know that you are not a man who is 6 foot, like you said. So men lie about their height. And another big one, and I'm not saying that, women don't do this too, but the two big ones is men lie about their height and men lie about their age. And the reason they lie about their age is to get past the filters. So every app you can say, I want an age range of this. And so if you're young and hot, these men and women are not lying about their age or stats. They don't have to. But let's say you're a man who's 42 and you're trying to get dates with the 28-year-olds. So what's happening is that, some 28-year-olds will go on a date with a 42-year-old, but they don't have to. The hot ones, they don't have to. They can get dates with guys their own age if they want to. So to get past the filters, so the older you get, you lie about your age. And so this is my tip for you. This is my tip for the men. It's kind of a damned if you do and damned if you don't, because you're trying to get past the filters. So I had a man say to me, he's like, if a woman lied about her age, that's a deal breaker. And I just look at him like, okay, obviously you've never been online, but, so, you will get some people, who are like, that's a deal breaker. You lied about your age. That's the first thing. Then what else are you going to lie about? My tip for men, because the older the men are, many, they're lying about their age to get that past the filters, is that if you're going to lie about your age, you lie one time. I don't agree with this. I don't think you should. I'm just telling you how to do it. Which sounds kind of opposite. I just know men do it. I know men do it. Okay. They're lying about their age to get past the filters. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. So if you lie, the first time you message, you need to say, or within that first exchange, hey, look, I apologize. I was trying to get past the filters, and I'm actually, this is my age, and I apologize, but I wanted you to know, and I'm interested, and whatever you want to say. Because here's the thing, just like the height is very easy to tell if the person is lying, the age will take longer to find out. So that's what men are banking on, like, oh, now you get to know me. But the thing is that women more so than men, I personally am not really interested in, I don't personally think that people should be stalking people on social media. I personally don't recommend this, but many women will social media stalk you. They want to know something about you. And a lot of women do this for safety. Are you real? Are you going to kill me? You know? Um,
Right.
so, and so with age, at least in the US, it's so easy to know someone's real age. It is extremely easy. There are literally minimal background checks, which is not a full background check. It's not like for your job where you pay money. You can literally, if you know their real name, you can know someone's age. So easy. So if a woman finds out on her own that you lied about your age, now it looks bad and you're in defensive. If you tell her on your own up front, it will go better for you. So again, I personally am not a fan of the social media stalking. I personally am not a fan of lying about your age. But would I have to say, you're saying how many women or men sending dick pics and women sending nudes? Like, yeah, a lot, right? So I'm just saying, because I know this is what is happening, that is my tip for the men on the filter and the age. You need to tell the truth at some point,
Okay.
and the
Now,
earlier the better.
tell us about photos. What do you think a guy should do when they put up a photo?
Yes, yes. So this is, if I had the money tip, like go to therapy to, figure out how to be in a relationship, my money tip for the online is everything hinges on the photo. So I've taken a couple photos from my guy friends, and I had to force them. I'm like, let me take your picture. Come on, come on. Like I had to like coax them and force them because they're embarrassed and they don't want to do it. And then my one guy, he's texting, oh my gosh, I have so many dates. They're all due to you. And I felt, very happy because I know what I'm doing. Like I know. So if you're not getting dates, it's your photo. Anybody online can get a date if they want. I mean, it's a numbers game. So you should 100% get your cousin, get a close coworker, get your female friend. I don't care who you get. If you have to pay someone, you should always make sure to get a good photo taken, and none of the selfie with the camera, because women are really good about doing these pictures because they take pictures all the time. Men are terrible at it. So you should pay someone, even if it's your little cousin, to take your photo, and you should take 3 photos. One photo that is you looking competent or successful, a hobby, insinuating for something for work, an activity, something like that, action shot. You should do one photo that's a little bit more realistic of how you actually look. So she's not shocked. And then, you can do one thirst trap photo. Like you're like, I look good. So just as men are looking at the photo and are they reading your bio? Like maybe, I don't know, but a woman with a bad bio with a good picture will still get a message. So there you go. So with the photo, no sunglasses. Women want to see your eyes. No fish pictures, because women don't care about fish, and everybody does fish pictures and it's common. So just don't do it. And then also no group pictures, because it's a very egotistical thing to say, well, but that's me. But when women don't know who you are, like, no, they don't know who you are in this photo. And then also it's the ego thing. Like you just think that she should know, like, no, she doesn't. And then also you don't want to be in a photo with someone who's better looking than you. I did have a scenario where a guy friend, you know, he had a message from a woman saying, I'm not interested in you, but your friend in your picture, is he single? And so you just really don't want to be in that situation, or, just a privacy thing. Like maybe your friends don't want to be like, oh God, I'm on match.com. They're my photo. I mean, I'm in the background, but I'm there, So that is the number one thing. If you have a good photo, you are almost guaranteed to you'll find a date.
Oh, my advice is number one, don't lie. Be as upfront and as truthful as you can, because it makes things a lot easier when you talk to this person. You don't have to try to remember the lies,
Yeah.
and be true to yourself. Like we said before, when you get into that single life, you need to make sure you know who you are. Get in touch with yourself again, because when I was married the first time, I totally lost my identity.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing everything she wanted to do, trying to be the person she wanted me to be, forgot all the things that I liked to do, and I had to learn that all over again. It took me 10 years because
Yes.
I was still trying to be something for somebody else and not for myself. And now I can be myself. And I
Yeah.
think women will appreciate that if you tell them, this is who I am. I can compromise, but I'm not going to change what I like and who I am.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say, if you are jumping in the dating world, whether you're a pro or you're a little lost, you know, get yourself to therapy. If you really want to do well in the dating world, like you say, Kyle, know yourself, fix some of these things, else you're just gonna, do a repeat.
Exactly. Same
Yeah.
mistakes. And I mean, I can't give any kind of stats on this because I don't know, but I would think that the sites that you pay for, like the match.com,
Mhm.
you're probably going to have a better chance of finding somebody who's serious because they're actually paying for the service instead of the free ones. Um, I could be wrong. I mean, there's still creeps out there.
Yes, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. So, I would say that people think that Tinder or Grinder, these are the hookup apps. And I have a girlfriend. She met her husband on Tinder. And I know people who, they got married and they met on Match. So, it goes back to that point that do not think that it's going to be easy. Know what you want and say, I'm going to work for it. I'm going to put in the work. It's almost like a second job, So you can't just expect that, you just go on there and magically, no, you have to do a little digging. Maybe you actually have to read the bio. Maybe you have to vet someone when you text them, all kinds of things. So you're not, with a thirst trap or, a scam artist or something like that. Do the work before you show up.
Yeah,
um,
definitely.
I would say, this is what I would say, and this is, people are going to have a hard time with this idea, but what I really think would be the most helpful for people is that if you are serious and you're on a dating app, why don't you try this? Every time that you log in, force yourself to ask one person out in person. And I know this is super scary and this is like crazy town because you're just like, well, but the app, at least they're single. Like, no, they're not. There's a lot of time wasters on that app. They have, they're dating someone already and you're number 5, So, don't think that if the online, it's easier to get a lot of rejection. And so men get a little discouraged. When you're young and hot, you got 50 messages in your DMs a day. Okay. But then later on, it gets a little bit harder, and so there's a lot of rejection from men online. Women tend to get more messages than men. There are more men on these apps than women. So, it's kind of a blow. It's kind of hard. And you just think this is a mess. But if you were to ask one person out in real life, you are much more likely to get a yes. And say for your age or something like that, it's much easier for someone, they got to know you or they saw your face or something like that. So ask people out in real life, And I know you're like, well, I don't know if they're, in a relationship or this or that. Like, who cares? It doesn't matter. Who cares? It's not your problem. It's not your problem. You just ask it. No big deal.
Mm.
Ask as much as you go online. The online is the crutch.
Yes.
It is the easy way out, and you get what you pay for. So if you want easy, then expect to get, a lot of scam artists.
Mm-hmm.
You want something that is a little bit more immediate, like this woman will see my face. She'll see, I approach her, I'm polite. And that same woman, if she was online, she would filter you out. But in person, she might say yes. So it's harder, it's scarier, but I would say if this is what you want, ask in person as much as you do online.
That's sound advice. And I would say also be very, very careful
Yeah.
when you are asking anyone out. I would suggest that you meet up at a restaurant or something like that before you start intertwining these people into your life. Don't say I'll come pick me up at my house. I wouldn't even suggest. I mean, unless they just want you to, I wouldn't even suggest going to their house and picking them up right away, because you never know. There's some crazy people
Yes.
out there. It's just not.
Yes.
It's just not as safe. I feel as it used to be.
Yeah.
There's.
There's a quote. It's well known, and this is I'm just paraphrasing, but the quote is, men are afraid that women will laugh at them, so they're worried about rejection. Women are afraid that men will kill them. So, and this is very true for women. I understand rejection is hard. You get your feelings hurt, and, rejection, men are afraid women will laugh at them. They ask them on a date, this and that. But I will say, very few men, a con from a woman, a predatory woman, she ruined your life, she put you in jail, took all your money. This takes a little bit of time, right? So if you vet someone, hopefully you escape these predatory women, with your dignity intact. But for women, there's very few men, if you're a man, that you're afraid for your life. Whereas with women, you go to a man's house, it's that, you could be physically harmed. So of the two, I would say, hey man, go after it, get it, ask women out. No big
Yeah,
deal. You can do it.
you can do it. I'd be more afraid for my wallet than I would be my life, but
You know, men are afraid that women will laugh at them, and women are afraid that men will kill them.
well, I'll just say I'm so glad that I'm married and I don't have to go through the dating anymore, especially in nowadays. But thank you, Rachel. If anybody has any comments or questions, please interact with us in the comment section, and like, share, subscribe, all those good things. And hopefully, we'll have just as interesting a conversation on the next show.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rachel.